Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iallegedly, and I've got a good one for you today because I've got the CEO of Noble Gold Investments, Collin Plume, to come in. We're going to answer some questions, and he's got the greatest setup too to film. So I've said, let's go up to your studio and let's do it there. So
Yeah,
thank you.
no, thanks. I'm always good to be. I know you're usually walking and talking, so we got you
Well,
right here.
we'll do that next
Maybe we'll do
time.
that. We'll walk next time. So I could use a walk.
Yeah, but thank you. I love this, and gold and silver have been in the news lately,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that you guys are sponsoring the channel,
Hmm.
and so much is happening right now. But there's a lot. I want to introduce you first and let people know. I mean, Noble Gold has over 16,000
Yes.
clients that you guys
Yes.
have. You've done well over $2.5 billion in
I
transactions,
know.
and
It's unbelievable.
it is. It's
I pinch myself sometimes. I feel like so blessed that people have entrusted us with their retirement. A lot of times their life savings. It's just been a real blessing. Actually, I have a close friend of mine, actually a golfing buddy, recently called me, and his dad he bought from us 5 years ago. He had a heart attack, and he's going to rehab. So he called me. Can I, my dad needs to sell. I don't even know what's happening. And so we got it all taken care of. We got the money in his account very quickly, and he was calling me, thanking me. But he
That's
was really
fantastic.
thanking me because his portfolio tripled from when he bought it. And listen, we can't predict what the future will hold, but
No, but
it
speaking
was,
of things going up, okay,
yeah, yeah,
you wrote a book that is so cool, and that's something I've talked about, and that is silver is more value. An ounce of silver is more expensive than a barrel of oil is
I
right
know,
now.
yes,
And you
yeah,
wrote a book, Silver is the New Oil.
yeah,
And this came out in December of 2024.
24, yeah,
And that was, and if I'm right, it was silver was at $29 a share then.
correct.
And in your book, which is fantastic, it's a great read, guys. Okay, if anybody wants to get it, um, you talked about how you thought silver was going to go and predicted it's going to go above $70.
Yes.
So it must be nice to be right too.
Yeah, it was. I remember when it came out. It was my first book, and gold was really taking off after the elections, and silver hadn't really moved. Was kind of slower moving. It moved more kind of the end of last year, and people were calling my friends and saying, "You wrote the wrong book. You should have wrote about gold." And then silver caught fire at the end of the year, and pulled back a little bit. Now it's starting to take off again.
That's
So,
great. That's great. Well, there's a lot of questions we have about gold and silver, but maybe
yeah,
that'll be the follow-up book is gold and where gold's going.
the follow-up book's going to be about the new economy. I think there's a new economy, and it's an asset-driven economy. I believe that assets like silver, like gold, are you have to have assets in your portfolio, and you have to focus on it. As much as the stock market is a place that you can invest, you have to have some instruments that have no debt behind them, that you can count on, that you can trust. And you don't have to worry about the CEO of this. When you buy this from us, it's yours, right?
Yes.
And that gives people that comfort. I talk a lot about it in my book. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
is all the reasons to own silver, all the industrial reasons.
These are 10-ounce bars. And speaking of, okay, Noble Gold Investments, give them a call, 877-646-5347. If you don't want to call, use the link below. It will be in the video description. But I love this. You brought out a bunch of
Yeah,
cool stuff to show you.
Yeah, I brought out a bunch of
The
stuff.
10-ounce bars I love, and this is just a little wacky package of
Yeah,
40 ounces of silver right
yeah,
there.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is sweet, guys. That is really beautiful.
yeah.
But you got the 1 ounce Trump coin.
Yep. We got a 1 ounce Trump. We got some silver eagles, which is the most popular coin. They've sold more of these than anything.
I'll hit you up next year. But one thing we do at Christmas is I give out gold, silver, and gift cards to the audience. We have a big giveaway.
Oh, nice.
And this year,
Yeah.
because the gift card company, the main one that was with Costco, went bankrupt. So I just gave out cash, silver, and eagles. So I mean,
Yeah,
people are
this
getting those in the
is
mail today.
very, very popular coin, and the U.S. Mint actually just came out, raised the price. They're selling them at close to $160 an ounce. We're selling them well below that. So part of what we try to do is get the best possible pricing and pass the savings on to people. And it's important because people, like for instance, Costco, they think, oh, I'm going to buy from Costco. The problem is when silver went up, Costco doesn't buy back.
Yeah.
So
What do you do?
So what do? You got to go to a store. You got to find a place. And I can tell you that not all places are equal, right? Like if you go to a pawn shop or whatever, and they have hundreds of products, they could charge you. I've seen them pay 30% below the spot price
Yes.
for products. So you want to have a relationship like with us or another dealer that's going to pay a good price, because I think the problem is that even if you buy from Costco at a good price, you think you got a good price, what happens when you sell it? If you sell it at a bad price, it could wipe away a lot of profits too. So you got to think about getting in, and you got to think about how you're going to get out.
Which is one thing that when we first met and we had our first, face-to-face meeting, we spent a lot of time, a couple hours talking about what what the game plan is. Sure. And let's talk about redemption. Let's talk about people selling stuff. And it was great because you guys were like, you're looking at each other like we do this all the time. Dan. People need to get in, they need to get out, and they need to know that they have the safety and security that they can do that.
Absolutely. So. And Dan, I will tell you, if you read reviews right now with a lot of our competitors, the number one complaint I'm hearing is that companies are not calling back because they don't want to buy back, or they can't buy back, or they don't have the funds liquid. It's a big problem. Or this is the other issue, they bought the wrong product. They bought some weird coin, and now the company doesn't want to buy back. We focus on bullion, coins, and bars. These are liquid with us or anywhere. You could go to anywhere, Dubai, you could go to Mexico, you could go to anywhere, Thailand, anywhere, and these would be money. People will buy these back.
Okay, you got it? Okay. This 1926 $10 gold piece, okay, that's awesome. But it says, "In God We Trust" on that.
That one says, "In God We Trust," which all of our money typically from history has said that, not overarching, but for the most part.
You told me the most wild story this morning, and I go, what's a no motto? And I'm sitting there trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So tell that story because it's awesome.
This is a no motto. So in 1908, President Roosevelt decided himself that he didn't like the idea that it said "In God We Trust," because they were using these at brothels and at bars. And he didn't like that.
Debauchery for gold.
He didn't think that was great, which I understand.
Yeah.
So he made the decision to take off the "In God We Trust." So it says no motto. So it was a very short period. But then Congress said, wait a minute, you don't have the ability to change our money. You can't do it. So there's 7 months that they have these that don't say "In God We Trust."
Again, very cool. I just love the no motto thing. I mean, it's just so slick.
Yeah.
But again,
but I think the thing is also, I mean, that's a great story, but look at the quality. This is from 1908.
Oh, it's a beautiful.
I mean, this is MS-66, so it's pretty high. MS-70 is like the top. So this is a pretty high graded coin. But I mean, if someone told you this came off the mint 2 years ago, you'd believe it.
Oh, absolutely.
But
our money is so beautiful. You know that? And I mean, the rounds, too, it's just.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other reason that coin was created. That was created by St. Gaudens, who was a sculptor and an artist. And Roosevelt believed that our money was not up to par to other parts of the world. So he commissioned St. Gaudens to create these beautiful coins. And that's the reason that we have these beautiful coins. And this was money. You could go, this $20 gold piece, you could go out, and you could go take your wife to dinner. You could buy groceries. I mean, $20 used to go
a long way.
Back then. But think about it. The thing that's always fun is that this coin's worth, let's say, above $5,000, somewhere in the, I don't know exactly today. I haven't looked at it. But you could do the same thing today that it did 116 years ago, right? You could take your wife out. You could buy a suit. I mean, with this, you could pay a mortgage.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean, so that's the thing that people, I think, really should crystallize, is that it's always been able to do the same thing. It's always been able to keep up the cost of living, pay for goods, and yes, things come and go, and companies come and go, and the S&P, I mean, if you go 20 years ago, most of the companies weren't even on the S&P or the NASDAQ. I mean, things change, but this has always stayed money, and it's always been consistent. And there is a comfort to having some consistency
100%.
in your portfolio.
100%. Now, okay, a few things.
You want to talk about the economy?
Well, yeah, let's go through into the economy, and then tell me. Okay, you mentioned the new economy. Let's talk about that. And I always like people's perspective on where they think things are headed. I think that one thing for the average person, this word affordability, and prices shot up so high, and no, they're not going up like that year after year, but they're still up here for a lot of different things. And we have gasoline prices that, as I drive from Orange County to LA, I'm, poking my head off the freeway looking for gas prices, and you're paying a premium that makes the rest of the country freak out.
Yeah. I think the thing that I always tell people, because I've been selling gold for so long, and everyone since I've started has told me the price of gold is too high since I started 17 years ago. The price is what it is. And I think that's what people need to realize. Every time people say like everything's gotten so expensive, those are the new prices. When you look at like this ridiculous market, Erewhon, that people are paying $20 for smoothies and all this stuff, the people that are going in there and they're paying the $20, that's the price. They're paying the price.
Yes.
So it is the price. I'm not saying you should pay $20. I'm not saying that.
Oh, it's. What
I'm saying is that like you have to change your perspective, because our money is not worth anything anymore. So it's like, to say that prices are going to come down or to be worried about prices, what you should be worried about is how do you protect against inflation? And the only way to protect is to have hard assets. That's the thing, is like people get in this mindset and they're like, oh my God, I remember when something cost, when you could get a gallon of milk for $1.50.
Mm-hmm.
Those days are gone.
They are.
It's not coming back.
And the one thing that I always emphasize when friends call me, family members, subscribers, I always say, you've worked so hard for your money. You've got to protect it. And if you think things are unstable right now, I mean, I agree with these people. I do videos every day on what's happening in the news. And I'm a firm believer in silver. I'm a firm believer coming from the medical industry, and how there wasn't enough silver to meet the industrial needs. Now they've considered it's a critical metal.
Correct.
And now, as far as the government's not going to let it go to $5 an ounce, it's not going to happen. But people need to protect themselves, and it's the most logical thing. And buddy just retired, and he called me on the way up, and I'm increase my gold and silver portfolio. It's one thing I'm going to do to protect myself. You have to do this.
Yeah.
And it's just, I love it. I've seen gold and silver since I started talking about it go up tremendously. And every expert I've brought on, we have a man named Bob Kudla who trades stocks and does stock trading with his program, and he is just saying the sky is the limit. This thing went like this, and then it went like this, and you're going to see it take off again.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Here's what I believe is going to happen in terms of my predictions. I think number one, the 30-year mortgage finally broke below 6% yesterday. So I think that's a pretty big sign. And that's even before they lowered rates in May with, Kevin Warsh is going to come in, the new Fed chair, and he's going to lower rates. So I know everybody.
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So do you think that we're going to see a 3% mortgage? I personally don't. I think that we could see something in the high fours.
Yeah.
And that would be something that, and I remember, when I was married, my ex-wife and I got a mortgage below 5%, and we were high-fiving each other. It was the greatest thing ever.
I know. Yeah, I know, because it's, and even at 6, it's still very affordable.
Yes.
I have a friend who recently got a 10-year fixed mortgage below 5% at 4.95.
Wow.
So those are happening. That's not a 30-year, but it's a 10-year fixed. So it's a little bit of a gamble, but I think he's a smart guy, and he understands the dynamics of not having a 30-year mortgage. I also think with them reducing rates, I think you're right. I don't think it goes back to 3, but I think we could get in the high 4s. I think we're in the 5%, low 5s this year, which will stimulate a number of things. I think it'll stimulate the real estate market, number one, which will be great. I think, 2, it'll give confidence to entrepreneurs to hire, because then they have sort of a roadmap to like, hey, if I need to borrow some money out there, I can borrow it at a better rate. And a lot of our entrepreneurs are living, they need debt. It's a big part of it.
It is. And credit lines, when I've been in business, I've had them, and we need construction to also come back because Lowe's and Home Depot and all the other smaller home improvement chains have all talked about that there's less home improvements going on, and a lot of that's financed with debt right now. And people need, they want to stay in their home. They want to fix up their house. They want to do it this time of the year over waiting. And
no, you're right, 100%. And also on the other side is those companies are some of the largest employers in the country. So if they're going well, that means the middle class is going well, and they're hiring. And so it has getting debt down to, and I don't think we should go down to 3%. I never believed that we should have been there. Do I have a 3% mortgage? Yes, because
lucky.
Why not?
Okay.
But it was too low for what was going on, and we saw that reaction because we saw inflation during, Biden's term hit 9%. But here's my takeaway with rates dropping, with silver becoming a critical metal, and follow me on this.
Okay.
I think we have one floor that's been created, and I think there's another floor that will be created. I think in the silver market, we've created a floor because silver's a critical metal now. The government's saying that they're going to hoard it and buy it in the U.S., and they need it. They have to have it. That's the government. Then you have AI, which the data centers and everything that they need it too. And I've talked a lot about this. Do I think every AI application is going to succeed now? And they're proving 95% fail. But the data centers are not. They need those, and they're building those. And they're everywhere across the country. They're turning farms into data. I mean, everything's data center. So they're going to continue to need it. And to keep the data centers cool, silver is a component. So I think you have the government needs it for industrial. They need it for military. You have the AI component happening there. So I think, and then making it a critical metal, they're saying like, we're going to create a floor. We're going to create this demand where we're going to continue to buy silver as a country. A, and then B, you have China doing the exact same thing. China made silver a critical metal also. So you have the two biggest military countries basically saying they need silver for X, Y, and Z. So I think you've created a silver floor. So that's the first floor.
One thing that people have written me about and emailed me and put comments on is there a premium in China right now for silver? Are we seeing things that are $25 and $50 ahead of what the silver price here in the States at times? Has that happened?
Yeah, the futures market has shown that. When you buy silver in China, there is a premium. I mean, people don't realize in the U.S. like we are selling gold and silver at unbelievable prices relative to the spot price, lower than it's almost ever been. During the pandemic, there was the Silver Eagles. My cost was like $9, $10 above the spot price. My cost.
Wow.
It's way below that now. You can get great deals on physical metals right now. It's a very lucky time. I don't know how long it's going to last like this. I think eventually you'll see a correction, but I think you're getting good prices. So you have that silver floor. The next floor that I believe, and this is my theory, but it's been backed by a lot of what's going on, is us revaluing our gold, right? From what it's been revalued at to
mind reader. Okay, I was going to totally ask you about this.
Yeah. So our gold. The last time we gave a value to the gold in the U.S., they valued it at $42.22. It's never been changed.
Ever.
Now,
how do we have? Is it 800 million ounces? What do we have right now? 800,000. What's the number?
We have 850 tons.
850 tons. Yeah. Pardon me.
And that would equate to today's price. You're over $1 trillion in gold. And so the idea is if we revalue it to today's price, we in theory put $1 trillion on our books, which would be massive. And it's a long story of how it goes on our books, but in essence, we could create the $1 trillion on our books by showing today's value. And that would be such a massive win for us as a country because we'd be sending a message to the world that like, hey, we have this $1 trillion that we've always had it, but we've never really shown it. It puts gold in the forefront. It says like gold's an important asset. We have it. We're a strong country. And as long as we have all the gold that we say that we do, which, who knows, but as long as we have it, we would show some strength in the world. It'd be great for our dollar, in my opinion. It would show a lot of strength in the dollar. And then some people say it wouldn't be good for the dollar. In my opinion, it would be good. The other thing that I think it does is it sets a floor for gold.
Yes.
Because when they made the price of gold $42.22, it never went below that.
I'll take 5 ounces. No.
Right, at that price, yeah. So what I'm saying is, if they revalue it, let's say at $5,000 an ounce, then they're saying that would be a floor price.
I have had many people write me, and I mean, when I say many, I mean 18 to 24 that have written me saying that the government's going to reprice and revalue gold at different figures, and it's been the lowest figure. I'm not talking about 5,000 people. We've heard Jamie Dimon say we could have 10,000. I've heard $11,400, all the way up to $24,000, which would make gold just, I mean, you'd be instantly super rich, for some of these people that own gold. And silver's going to go right along with that. But
yeah, silver is interesting because if you took, silver hit $50 an ounce in 1983. If you took what $1983 and you apply that to today's dollars, it'd be $208. That would be the price. So 1983 $50 silver to today's money is actually $208. So a lot of people are like, oh, silver's already hit the peak. Until silver hits 208, then I think we're sort of close to where it should be. But at $80 plus today, it's, in my opinion, still got a lot of room to run.
Good. Now, the other thing is the fractional silver, the paper silver. They say that there's roughly 356 paper claims for each physical ounce.
Yeah.
So for all these people that have speculated on paper, there's not the silver to back it up. I mean, it's just crazy. So the price, as far as a short, if people like that theory of shorting silver and that there's a shortage, that's it right there.
The only person that should buy silver on an exchange is someone that's going to try to take advantage of the volatility in either a swing trade or an option trade. Those people can do really well. But if you're not that person, and most people are not watching this day to day, they're not trying to play the options, they're not trying to they're just trying to buy and hold, then I think owning physical is a much safer way, because at the end of the day, it's 350 to 1, 350 contracts in one piece. There is a number that when the price continues to surge, they will not be able to deliver. They will not be able to catch up because the industrial demand will circumvent that. Where that number goes, I don't know. But like if it hits 500 contracts to 1 or 600, do you think like a regular investor like you and I is going to get silver ahead of Fidelity or Schwab?
Absolutely not.
No,
no, absolutely not.
So
one thing that as far as the industrial usage, and that here you've got a 10-ounce bar, which I think things like this are great because in dark times, I mean, you can move 10 ounces fairly quickly.
Yes.
But what we've seen from an industrial standpoint is they're buying 1,000-ounce blocks, 1,000-ounce bars of silver, and they're being consumed by the industrial marketplace right now, which we've never seen before because of the demand. Instead of taking 10-ounce bars and single ounces, they're taking 1,000-ounce increments of silver and using it up, and it's being dissipated into manufacturing.
You know what? It's a great way to buy. I mean, we sell a lot of 1,000-ounce bars too.
Wow.
They're heavy. I wouldn't recommend that you pick them up.
Keeping it in the car, yeah.
I've had some people that are retired ask me to ship them, and I you have to ask, well, what's your squat? How much can you? Because they weigh 70 pounds.
Okay, I was going to say, even trucking that.
You can truck it. Listen, I can get whatever you want. I can get it, but I had a lady a few years ago who bought 7 figures of us, and she was like, I want the lowest. And I said, listen, I can get you that. It'll get you the most ounces. But how are you going to move this from wherever it's going to go? You want this at your house, or can we store it? No, I want it at my house. Okay, I get it. And then once I gave her the weights, and she slept. I go, listen, sleep on it. Pray on it. Let's talk tomorrow.
Okay. Now you've just brought up something I want to cover, and that is you guys will ship the physical metal.
Yes, absolutely.
And you also have storage, and you showed me pictures and films and videos of the storage
Yes,
facility
yes.
and invited me, Dan, if you ever want to come out and film there, we would
Yeah,
invite you out to Texas
yeah,
and go to
yeah,
different places. And I thought that was so cool. I
yeah.
mean, it really is great, but it's all protected.
All
And
insured. Lloyd's of London insurance, and it's a segregated. So the biggest thing is non-segregated and segregated. What people don't realize when they do an IRA with, I would say the majority of the companies, they'll do a non-segregated account, which the reason you don't want to do that is that the depository will not keep your metal separate from everybody else's. Ours are segregated, which means your metal is not commingled with anybody else's.
it's Dan's metal.
It's Dan's metal, and also the facilities that we use, they're verifying and checking daily. And then what I do is I go out once or twice a year and I'll do a blind audit. So I'll come with, like, let's say these are my receipts. I'll come with like 100 receipts and I'll be like, I want these out. I want to count. So I'll do a double check of it. But if you do non-segregated, there's been issues where people have went and they were short. They didn't have enough. You only want to do segregated. It does cost more, but we've negotiated a flat rate for IRAs. So it's flat. So even if you did, 10,000 and your 10,000 went up to $2 million, it's just a flat amount. It's 175 a year for the storage.
Oh, that's very cool.
Regardless, anything in an IRA is 175 for storage. There's some custodian fees too that are nominal, but we've negotiated a flat rate so that you don't get dinged when your silver goes up. Whereas, like, if you look at a typical financial advisor or mutual fund, your portfolio goes up, they're charging 1% to 3%. I mean, I've seen people where they came back to me, they're like, I'm paying $10,000 or $12,000 a year in fees. Whereas with us, IRA in it, they're paying total all in is 275 a year. So
Again, a reminder, call Noble Gold Investments, have them answer all your questions, guys. 877-646-5347. Again, if you don't want to call, use the link below. I love your the gold and silver guide. I think that's very cool. I loved reading that, and it was great.
That guide has been downloaded over 100,000 times,
which says a lot.
Yeah, we've changed it. Every year we make some modifications. We want to make it. My goal has always been in this business is to make it so that when you do the purchase, that there was never something you didn't understand. I think that's
which is great. I mean, I called the customer service number. They've answered all my questions. There's no pressure, guys. There's no gimmicks. It's just a great company. But let's go back to the economy for a second. Right now, with the new tax policies, they're talking about how tax refunds, basically are going to go on an average from $3,000 to $3,800,
nice.
and which is great.
Yeah.
But there's two types of people: people that have that money already spent, it's already been whittled away, and then the rest of us that are trying to plan and trying to if the economy's rough, I always tell people, know that things are going to be difficult. Know that you've got to save money. Know that you've got to have a plan to get through everything right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think, listen, if you can, if you do get a bigger refund than you anticipated, buy some gold and silver.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll be disappointed in buying it. I think it's the nice thing about gold and silver too is it's a great way to buy something and sort of forget about it. What the problem with so many accounts and retirements today is everybody looks at it and then they're trying to time the market and sell. When I buy gold and silver, I sock it away and I never think about it. And then in the rainy day, I know I'll have value. I know it'll be worth a lot.
Like your friend and his dad. I mean, that is a perfect example of that. And one thing that's been in the news a lot lately has been the tariffs, and talking about how and before we were filming, we came up and talking about this. We were talking about how the government says that they have $172 billion that have been set away from tariffs, and you've heard numbers as high as $300 billion. And the dream that we're all going to get this tariff check now is done. I mean, that's regardless of what they do and how this gets resolved. That fantasy land of us getting a refund check is done.
Yeah.
So
and also I was going to say that the thing that I found interesting is that when President Trump really started to push this idea of the tariff January of last year, and obviously that was a big part of his agenda. The thing that I heard the most was that this was going to increase inflation. Right, mm-hmm. That was what we heard all the time from the left. Right, it was going to increase inflation. It's going to make costs more The Fed said that. They came out with a study saying, but if you look at inflation in January, inflation was actually down. It was down below 2.6%, which is the lowest it's been in a long time. So actually, the interesting thing about it is that everybody was sort of wrong about this idea that inflation was going to go up. It actually went down. Now, do I think we're going to get to 2% again? Doubtful. I don't think we're getting to 2%. I think they should raise it to 3%, in my opinion. Most of the world believes 3% is normal. Most countries say 5-6% is normal. So I think that the Fed has sort of pivoted, and now their strategy is more focused on job growth. And so that's why I do believe, again, in May, very likely we get a pretty significant. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 50 to 75 basis point cut.
Okay. I love predictions like that on video, because we can go back and say Collin was right. Or he was way off. So,
or Polymarket probably has a bet on this.
They do.
They'll bet on it.
You know what's one thing I wanted to end this with you is that gold is money.
Yes.
And one thing that we talked about was the donations for certain countries, Osaka and Japan, that they use gold as a donation.
Yes.
And they had a 21 kilogram of gold gift, which was an anonymous donor gave $3.6 million in gold bars to repair an aging water infrastructure in Osaka. And I was at the Consumer Electronics Show in January, and a lot of cool stuff with South Korea, and a lot of cool stuff with Japan with rebuilding infrastructure. But the gold, instead of somebody writing a check, they just gave the gold bars in an anonymous way.
I think in my opinion, it seems like the wrong. I would never do that. I would never recommend anyone, because if somebody has 3.6 million in gold bars, they probably have millions in cash.
Yes.
I would give cash.
Yes.
Before, and like my heirs, like I want, my goal is to leave this to the kids and the grandkids, and that's how you're going to build generational wealth. I would never recommend anyone to do it. Now, what could have happened is that maybe they bought gold, in the 80s at,
who knows,
$270 an ounce, and they don't want to pay the tax. Who knows what happened there? But in my opinion, I would turn my cash in before.
But the whole thing was gold is money. And that's the value.
That is the point.
That's the stress of this.
That's a good point.
And then, Vietnam's doing remonetization real time, all these different things that are happening globally. Gold and silver are money, guys.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see where this economy goes in 2026. But I think we covered a lot, man. And again, don't forget, silver is the new oil. I'm telling you guys, I did that book, Don't Sell Your Silver. Remember that from last month? And because it was more expensive than a price of gold, and don't believe the hype. That
price of oil.
What did I say?
Did I say gold?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't want to tell anyone.
I misspeak a lot. Okay?
No, it's okay.
Trust me, there's somebody that's keyboard.
I didn't want anyone to come back and say, no, it's not the price of it is higher. It is today. It's higher than the price of oil.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and get Collin's book. But more importantly, call Noble Gold Investments, guys. 877-646-5347. Thanks, brother. I really appreciate this. I'm so glad that this worked out.
Oh, yeah. And
but man, I love the little treasures you got here. Yeah. And
next time we'll talk about this shipwreck coin that I have. We didn't have enough time today, but I'll go into that a little bit next time.
We'll do this, and because and the other thing is, if you guys ever have questions for Collin, you can write me, and I will make sure that they get to Collin.
Yes.
But call the company, guys. Great service. Like I said, no, gimmicks, no games. It's just a great company who's been around a long time, and they're the leaders, guys, and that's why they're with me. So
thank you, guys. Thank you.
I will see you guys very soon. Don't forget, hello@iallegedly.com is the email address. For those of you that won from the Christmas gift, I gave out a bunch of gold and silver and stuff. Send pictures in and stuff like that, because I'll hit Collin up next year for Christmas, and he'll be giving it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you guys very soon.